Hi Floss Tubers, I am Judy Whitman with JBW Designs and I'm welcoming you into my studio/office today. It's a beautiful day here in Michigan, a perfect summer day. So I'm glad you could join me. I wanted to welcome not only new viewers who have never been to my channel before, but also I want to thank all of the people who have subscribed and have made such wonderful comments the last couple weeks. So it's very exciting to see the response and to see the channel growing. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about our last 2 weeks because it's been a little crazy. We decided, my husband and I, last winter that we probably weren't going to take any big trips this year away, which we like to do, but rather that we would try to find something closer by, maybe a little cottage to rent or something. And we did. We were lucky. We started back in February. And we found a darling little cottage on a lake that's about a half an hour from here. And it doesn't have enough room to have all of our children and grandchildren there, but they are able, because they all live in the area, they're able to come and visit and swim, etc. So I hope this isn't too long involved story, but last night we had some visitors, some relatives come, my sister-in-law and her husband and his son from Pennsylvania. And so we kind of came up with this plan that we would have them come to the cottage, we'd all have dinner together outside, a picnic, and then we'd return to our house to sleep last night because there wasn't enough room in the cottage. And then my husband and I would stay here for a few days and let our son and his wife and children stay at the cottage. So we've kind of switched places. So I'm home. We are home for 4 days, which actually is a blessing because I have so much work to do. I wanted to record the video and I have a lot of finishing. So we came back last night and I did the video planning this morning. So here we go. I wanted to tell you, let's see, I have one funny story to tell you. So it was very confusing last night because we were moving things out and they were moving in. And when I got home last night, it was probably 10 o'clock when we all got back here. I could not find my glasses anywhere. And I only have this one pair of prescription glasses. And I don't know about you, but when I lose something, I become obsessed with where in the heck did I leave these? And I tried to track, the last things I did. I couldn't find them anywhere. I looked high and low. And then, of course, I didn't sleep well last night because I was obsessing about where those glasses were. I was picturing them actually on the cement outside of a car with somebody having rolled over them. So I had them in pieces. You can see they're not. So this morning, as my sister-in-law was getting things ready for them when they were leaving, she said, "Judy, I have a gift for you." And she came downstairs and she had found my glasses in one of the bedrooms. So hip, hip, hooray, I'm back in business again because I was really fretting about this. But I know you all go through that too. You have something that you're desperate to find, whether it's a piece of stitching, which I've done before, or fibers, etc., and you just can't remember where you've put them. So that was my lost and found story. I wanted to tell you about some mail that I've received lately. One is a note that I received, and then one is a photo that I want to share with you. So I had sent some products that Janice requested, and I got the most beautiful card back from her. She handmade the card. It is so gorgeous. And then she wrote a lovely note inside thanking me for sending the products. But I just love it when people take the time to create something so beautiful and then share it with the rest of the world. I guess we're all trying to do that, aren't we, with our stitching? So thank you, Janice. I just love what you sent. And then the other thing that I wanted to share with you, and this actually came through on my Friends of JBW Design Facebook page, is that a gal named Julie posted this picture last week, which got a lot of comments. And I want you to look at this up close because it's so incredible. She and her mom and her aunts are making 150 of these tiny little ornaments using the darling hoops as a finishing idea for her wedding that's upcoming. And I just thought that was incredible. I love how they're turning out. I'm so impressed with this job, Julie, that you and your family have undertaken. And several people said, I hope your guests appreciate what you've created for them, because it's a great idea, just a beautiful idea. So thank you for that. So last Sunday was our monthly antique fair in Allegan. And my friend and I went again, and boy, did I have a lucky day. I found 2 antique samplers, which is very rare. I haven't found any in years in our area. But it turns out, I asked the gal that was running this booth, I said, where are you from? Because the things he had in his booth were so unique. Well, he was from outside of Philadelphia, which explains the uniqueness of the things that he brought to market. But I can't wait to show these to you. So one of the samplers that I bought, and of course I'm always looking for red and white, was a red and white sampler. It does not have a date on it, but the young girl who stitched it was named Monica Marshall. It's stitched on a very, very coarse linen. It almost looks, I remember this from years ago, almost like a rug hooking backing. But the stitches are quite neat, and she's used not only red, but ecru. So you can see every other letter is done in either red or ecru. The thing that I just love about this, I want you to look at several aspects of this up close, is look at this frame. It is absolutely fabulous. It kind of rings Pennsylvania Dutch, which makes sense if that's where it was found. But the neat thing is the back. They actually had to piece 2 pieces of board together to get that to fit into the frame. And I know an antique dealer here in town that I have bought frames and pieces from before, and I'm going to contact him because the frame needs to be repaired, and I'm going to see if he can repair it, and also if he will help me take it apart. I'd really like to see the back of the piece if I could. So that was one exciting piece. And here, let me grab another one here. So this is the next one that I purchased, and this too, I'm going to hold it down here or up here, is quite amazing, and I love the detail in this one. Not loving the colors, but everything about it is so cool. So first of all, it's rare to find a horizontal sampler, so I like that about it. It is dated. It was done by Olive Rowley, Rowley, in the 14th year of her age, and you can see she didn't quite have room for age, so she put it up a few spaces. It was done November the 7th, 1805, and then the inscription on it reads, "When this you see, remember me, through many miles we distance be." It's quite hard to read actually because several letters are missing. And also down here, the BE is up a little bit. It is done on a very, very coarse linen. It is done primarily in grays and I would say kind of a taupey brown. And I will be charting both of these, but probably not for this fall. But I thought you would love to see them. And this too on the back needs some repair. So I'm going to take it to Bruce and find out if he and I can work together to see if we can discover any more clues behind the samplers. There's some glare here from my lamp. I apologize for that. So those were my 2 exciting finds, which I was just thrilled about. I've also made some purchases this week of other products to use with finishing. So I am busily working on 5 designs for a show that is going to happen at the end of August. And the show is called Needlework Expo. You may have heard about it. It's a wholesale market. It's open to shops, and shops visit us like this online from all over the world. And it's quite exciting because last year I got quite a few orders, new shops from Australia. But so I am in production mode here, trying to get my last designs finished. And that's my project for this weekend. I have 4 small things I need to finish. So one of the things that I bought, I'm actually going to do a strawberry, which will be the first time, is I bought this wonderful bundle of wool. And this I found on Etsy. Don't you just love those colors? They're just, oh, they're just my palette. And this was from a company called Benzie, Benzie. And you can go onto their website. I believe they sell, I haven't gone back to look at everything that they carry, and they are out of Illinois, I believe. So that was one of my wonderful finds. And then this is another find. Actually, Annie from the Proper Stitcher showed these on her YouTube a week or so ago, and I just fell in love with them. This is from a company, let me look at my notes here, called Cottage Couture Fabrics. And you know, you can tell I love blue. I have blue on today, but look at the variety of blues in here. Each one, that's a fat quarter, would be just fabulous for finishing a pillow, for finishing smalls. I have no idea how I'm going to use these, but it just really appealed to me. So that is a company that actually is in Michigan, I discovered. And both of these companies had great service. They delivered, I got them in the mail immediately. And then the third thing that came this week, which I was so excited about, I talked to you last week about my French Christmas tags book, and the fact that these were all mounted on wooden pieces from a company in France. And I had ordered quite a while ago, and guess what finally came in? So the wooden pieces that go with those designs. You could also put the sleds on here. So these are back in stock. You can talk to your shop owner and have them order for you, or you can order from me directly. And she also sent me some new samples to do new designs. So they arrived too late to do for this next market this month, but that will be my next project, is to work on designs for the new shapes that she sent. So there were, let me grab a quick drink of water here. I'm starting to sound like a little duck or something. My voice is going away. So there were several questions this last week on techniques, and I thought I would address 2 questions today, and I'm sorry that I forgot to do it last week, but one person wrote to me and asked, how do you start a stitch when you're working on one, when you don't have anywhere to bury your thread? And many of you probably know this technique. It's going to be a little hard to show you, but I'm going to try to describe it to you, and then I will try to demonstrate. And then if this doesn't work real well, then I'll try to do a diagram next week. But you're going to start with, and let me pull this out here, with a little knot in the end of your thread. It's going to be hard to see. And you're going to put that knot actually not on the back of your work, but on the front of your piece that you're working on. And you want to put it in the direction that you will be crossing that thread on the back as you're working. So in this case, if I'm working left to right, I'm putting the knot over on the right side horizontally. And then as I'm stitching, let's do a few stitches here. I'm going to try to do this quickly. So as I'm stitching, so I've put in the beginning of a row, you are going to be crossing that thread on the back and anchoring it. That's the whole purpose of it. You're trying to anchor your thread as you're working along. Then once you find that it's anchored, then you're going to just gently lift that knot and cut with your scissors under the knot and get rid of the knot. You don't want any knots on your work. So if that, hopefully that makes sense to you, you want to just keep working along and covering that thread along the back. And you don't have to put it horizontally, you could put it vertically or at a little angle so that you catch it. So hopefully that explains how to begin a thread when you're working over one and you don't have any stitches on the back to attach your beginning thread. And when you end a thread, you're just going to weave your needle through the back of a few stitches to anchor it. So that was one of the topics that people asked about. And then the other topic that came up had to do with how to finish the rounds on a wooden box. So I've pulled out, let me put a couple things away here to make room. So I've pulled out a couple of props here to show you how I do this. And I'm going to show you a couple models, and I'll try to walk you through the steps. It's not hard. And then I'll quickly show you the models, and then we'll talk about how to achieve this. So I have quite a few round designs. In fact, I was thinking today, I should do a count. I don't know how many round designs I have. I started this a year ago and they were so popular, I just keep doing them. So this is Winter in the Round. And I mounted it on a small box from which I showed you last week from Hobby Lobby. And before I begin, comes in a raw wood. So I spray paint the box. And the paint finish that I found that I like so well is a chalky white spray paint that I found at Hobby Lobby. So I spray the outside, the top, and the inside, obviously. And then once you have your box painted, then you can begin the mounting of your stitched piece. So the first thing that I do is I use a little protractor and cut out a circle. That's kind of light to see, but you can see I've traced a circle, and I use something called comic board. And I learned this from a professional stitcher, professional finisher. This is what she uses when she does her finishing projects. I've talked to you about it before. The beauty of it is it's lightweight. You can cut it with scissors. And if you can't find it in your local, Hobby Lobby doesn't carry it actually, but you can order it online in packages of like 50 or 100. Share it with your friends. So first I'm going to cut out a round piece of my comic board because this is going to be the thing that I'm mounting it on. And then the second step let me backtrack first. You'll need to take a measurement first of what that size should be. And on this particular box, this measures 4 inches across. So I've cut a 4-inch circle out of that board, just one. And then the other thing that I've had real good luck with, instead of using batting, which you can do, or felt, I like this, let's see, what do they call it? It's called Presto Felt. So it's actually has a sticky backing to it. So I cut another 4-inch circle out of this felt, and that is how I'm going to put padding on this first circle. So I've cut one circle out of the cardboard, one circle out of the felt, then I'm going to adhere the two of them together. Then you're going to need to take, and I wish I had a model here to show you, but let's just hold this up. You're going to need to cut out your fabric around your stitch design. But I want to warn you, please allow yourself enough margin around that stitch design, because you're going to need about 1/4 of an inch beyond the design before you get to the edge of the 4 inches. And then you'll need at least maybe 5/8 of an inch beyond that, because you're going to be folding your fabric around that circle and gluing it. You're going to glue your design to the back of the circle. And I put a bead of fabric glue around the outer edges, and then I just kind of go around and pinch it so that it is forming a nice even circle. With fabric glue, you want to make sure that you've got it centered on the front correctly, but you can also kind of pick it up and move it if you have to before it's glued in its final position. So now I've glued my design, my fabric, to my cardboard over the batting, and then I'm going to let that dry for a while. I have it upside down. And the next step is going to be gluing it to your wooden top. And again, I just use fabric glue, and it's a little curved here. So what I usually do is after I've glued this piece on, I take it someplace and put a nice clean piece of paper over the top of it, and then I pile heavy books on top to make sure that this is glued tightly in place. So hopefully this is making sense. And then the next step you're going to do is you're going to make your twisted cording to go around the edge of your stitched piece. And I have a little hint for you, two things actually. I usually do the joining of the cording at the base of the circle, and I try to leave a little empty space in there that's not glued tight so that I can put the beginning of the cording is going to start here, and as you come around to the end, I can tuck that end into that opening so that they're coming together kind of like this. One of the reasons that we often put a bow or some kind of a charm or a trim is to cover that joining, because it is hard. The professionals get it perfectly, of course, but you and I who are still mastering this, sometimes it doesn't look as great as we like. So just a little bow or ribbon or charm here will cover that joining. And then I also often do this with my rounds. I have an extra design that goes on the inside lid. So making this piece is the exact same steps that we did on the front. So you're going to take your cardboard, your batting, you glue your design, and then put your cording. And you could do the little knots instead of the joining at the base. So that was Winter in the Round finishing steps. Hopefully that made sense. This is what the book looks like. This was stitched, let me check, on a 32 Belfast linen. The color of the linen is Blue Whisper. And let's see what fiber I used for this one. I used Deep Blue Sea by Classic Colorworks. So I have another round design very similar to that one that I can show you that uses the very same steps. And this one, let me show you, was actually mounted on a paper mache box. This is Doggies in the Round. And on this one, I did the same kind of mount, although there's not an edge, so the cording goes right up to the edge of the box. And then I got some scrapbook paper and just cut a strip of it for the edge of the box and added a ribbon. And then this is what the inside of the box looks like. So there's the scrapbook paper and the extra design that goes on the inside. So hopefully that gives you a few hints on finishing a round. Let's see, I want to set these aside. If it still is not as clear as you'd like, just ask questions. Make comments below and I will try to make more sense of it for you, hopefully. So let's see, I wanted to show you, I just got 2 models back from one of my finishers, and I think the interesting thing about this, I haven't shown you all the new designs except for this one, is that this is the design that I've shown you in 2 colorways, and now I'm going to show you a 3rd colorway. And the interesting thing is how one design can look so different depending on the fabric you choose, the fiber, the colors, the count. So I showed this to you before. This is Dashing Through the Snow. It's worked on a 32 count polka dot linen from Zweigart. You've seen that. This book isn't out yet. This will be coming out. And then I showed it to you last week worked on a 28 count red linen from Witchelt over 1 with white floss. Now this is the third model that came in that I just loved how it turned out. This is the same design. Look at how different they look. Stitched on a 40 count legacy linen. Let's see, the color is, I have to think about this. Let me look. Attic lace, and I used 809 DMC for the fiber. But I love how this turned out. I wish that I had my blue fabrics that I could have sent to my finisher to have her use for the backing. But my ordering and the finishing kind of crossed paths for a little bit there. But I thought you'd be interested in seeing how different one design can look on different fabrics. So I have one more element to share with you today. Let me disappear here for a minute. And this is going to be one more segment of Christmas in July. So I have a design that I may have showed in past videos, but there's so many videos out there, you may not want to go back and watch all the beginning ones. So we'll show this again just because it's fun for people to see. It might give you a new idea. And once again, the design I'm going to show you is a set of 4 books. Similar to last week, I did 'Twas the Night. This set of books is called Christmas Village. And these were published 11 years ago, so it is definitely one of my older designs. Once again, it's a set of 4 books. Each one was stitched on a 28 count linen. It can be individual ornaments, and I'll show you some of those. Or you could stitch it, let me grab this over here. You could stitch it as one design. And let's see, it's always hard to figure out how to show it to you and to get it in the picture with the light not being. All right, let's do it that way. I'll get my head out of the way. So what is unfortunate about this, and I just saw this in somebody else's video, is that the lettering on this has faded terribly. And I'm trying to remember whose video I saw this in, but she had the same problem. She had stitched a model, and this doesn't hang in the sun. That fiber faded. It was a poblano pepper from Classic Colorworks, but back then it was done by another company. I'm sorry, it was called not Classic Colorworks. I'll have to look it up, what that company, it was bought out. Crescent Colors was the original color company. So I don't know if it's just happens to be that particular color fades terribly. It was a beautiful green, and now it's faded to almost like a chartreuse green. I don't know if I'll take it apart to fix it. That sounds like a huge job, but there is a PDF file, just like with 'Twas the Night, that goes with this design that is free. And what the PDF file does, I'll show you what it looks like, is it is 2 sheets that you can print out on your computer that shows a picture of the overall design, and then it also shows the layout and the chart for the lettering. So you can just write to me, email me, Judy@JBW Designs, and I'd be happy to send you the free PDF file for the layout. And now I'll show you each book individually and also several of the ornament samples. So in Christmas Village 1, we have a church and a house and a little barn. In Christmas Village 2, we have a chalet and another little Swiss house and a gingerbread house. In Christmas Village 3, you have a schoolhouse and an old mill and just another little old-fashioned house. And in the 4th one, we have a Victorian house, another house with a Christmas design, and then a covered bridge. So those are the 12 designs that make up Christmas Village. You could choose to stitch just 2 or 3 of them. as ornaments on a tree. And this is what they look like individually. So here's the little church ornament. And here is the schoolhouse. I see one of the greens on that has faded too. Let's see, here's the little chalet, and it has a kind of a bow going across with French knots. You could do that in beads. And then the fourth design that I thought you might be interested in seeing up close is the little mill, the old-fashioned mill, water mill. So that, as I say, came out quite a while ago, but I thought you might enjoy seeing it. I hope so. So let's see. What else do I want to tell you today? Our winners from last week. So last week I asked, or 2 weeks ago, I asked for you to make comments about your favorite fabric counts that you like to work on. And we got lots of answers and lots of real broad range of counts that people like to work on. Some people like 14 count Ada. There was one gal that was working on I think a 60 count, which is surprising to me. But you know, these are things that are very individual. We have to work on fabrics that we feel comfortable with, that we can see. That's very important, so that we don't make mistakes. And so it doesn't matter what fabric you choose. We just want you to be happy with the project that you're working on. So we did have 3 winners. And that was to celebrate my 1,000 subscriber numbers, which is great. So the first winner was Shar J57, and she likes to work on, I wrote down the wrong count here. She's working on a legacy linen, and I think she said 40, but I wrote down the wrong count, and so I apologize for that. But Shar, if you'll contact me all of you at my email address, Judy@JBW Designs. Give me your address. I will send you the 'Twas the Night series booklets. And then our second winner was Lori Ginsburg, and her favorite fabric is the 32 count vintage country mocha. And she wins the 3 red and white designs I showed last time. And then our third winner is Charla Francis, and she works on a 14 count Ada. And she wins the French Christmas tag book. So the funny thing is that Char, the first winner, said to me, "This is what I work on, but sometimes I still can't count." And I can so relate to that. I always think you should know this, that even designers stitching their own designs, and yes, this is true, we make mistakes counting, and we have to go back and take them out. So it's not a magic answer to how we make things work. We just know we have to be careful. And yes, it is easy to make mistakes. It's okay. Please, when you send make sure that you are over 18, that you do not mention giveaway in your response, and that you are a subscriber. So thank you. I also want to acknowledge several floss tubers who have just been so supportive of me. Annie from the Proper Stitcher has been mentioning me many times, and so she's brought over many viewers to my channel. Another wonderful floss tuber is ChrisXStitch, ChrisXStitch, and he too has been so supportive of my designs. And the third one is a new one for me, is Jody from Trixie Tricycle, and she featured one of my designs in her last video. So that was very kind of her, and I'm so appreciative of any kind of mention that I can get from other people. So my plans for this weekend are, I need to do my finishing. I need to make sure I've got all my text and charts and ready for my graphic artist this week, and everything has to be done by August 8th. So the timelines are looming, and we are going back to the lake. But that's okay. I get lots of stitching done there. I get lots of models stitched, so it's good. So I hope you have a great week, that you have time to stitch and enjoy yourselves. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. See you next time. Bye.